Well, welcome to the Profit Lab show and podcast. I am your host, Marie Torossian, CPA and 10x Rep business coach, and I am so glad you are here. All right. If you're new to the show, welcome, and then be sure to subscribe or follow wherever you're watching or listening to us on so that you will never miss any of the episodes, which we release them every Wednesday at noon Eastern time. And that's on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Podbean, and all major podcast platforms. So make sure to find us, listen to us, and follow us. And of course, don't forget to share. That would be very helpful. Let's get the word out and help more business owners together. So in the last episode, we talked about diagnosing your business before jumping into solutions, making sure you're actually working on the right problem. But once you know what you need to work on, there seems to be another challenge. You have to stay in it long enough to actually get results. And that sounds very simple, but from what I've seen, as I coach so many business owners, this is where a lot of progress gets actually lost. Most of them start with, whatever the problem was, they're excited to work on it, they have a plan, and then 3 weeks later, something else grabs their attention. So today, what I want to focus on is the consistency. I want to talk about consistency and why doing the right things consistently will usually get you much further than doing a lot of things occasionally. Let's get into it. Most business owners, I don't feel like they struggle with starting things. And I know that, I'm not trying to make this a general theme here, but, most people do have an idea when they're excited about it, they get started on it, okay? We're not today talking about those people that just procrastinate and never get started, okay? So that's not the people we're talking about. We're talking about business owners that figured out the plan, that diagnosed the plan, they're excited to work on that plan, but then they struggle to continue working on them long enough to see results. What do I mean by that? So think about how many things we get started with great intentions. Let's say in a business setting, it could be marketing consistently. It could be reviewing financials monthly, consistently. Prospecting every week, or documenting processes. Or it could be something personal, like exercising, okay? The first few weeks, they're usually easy because, there's that excitement, there's motivation, there's inspiration. But the real test is, are you still doing those things 30, 60, 90 days later? So results usually do not come from one huge push to finish it. They come from repeating the right activities long enough for them to work. Think of a long distance runner. I'm not a long distance runner, but let's think about long distance runner. And let's say your business is that big stretch, okay? A long distance runner has to have the discipline and build out that, the ability, the skill set to hang in there for that long stretch of running. So if that's your business and you just never work on the skill set to be able to do that long stretch of running, how are you going to do that? It has to be consistent. It has to be disciplined. It has to have space on the calendar to get it done. And I always touch back on the calendar. I guess at this point, you guys know the calendar is very important piece of success. So controlling time is very, very important. The next thing I want to, touch on is like not confusing activity with progress. So in some cases, business owners can be extremely busy and they're doing so many different things, but without moving the needle on the most important priorities that need to be moved forward. So let's think about, clients, your employees, a pile of emails, and we get bombarded with emails all the time, different problems, meetings, family responsibility. There's always something that's competing for your attention. Most of the things that actually improve the business aren't the most urgent things, right? Nobody's going to call you because you didn't review your financial KPIs or actually do business development this week. Of course, unless you have me as your coach, then I'll be asking about that. So ask yourself at the end of each week, what did I actually move forward? What problem did I finish solving that I can now move on to the next thing? Rather than just, what did I do today? I mean, have you had those days that you're like, the day is finished, you're having dinner with your family, and you're like, I have no idea what I worked on today. That's what I'm talking about. That's because you did random tasks, random things, some business, maybe some personal, but nothing really moved the needle. You didn't feel like, you know what, this one thing, it's done. Now I can move on to the next thing. So you don't even have a recollection of what you really achieved for that day. So that basically, that brings you back to, that's why I said, you might be busy doing a lot of things, but there's nothing really moving the needle. There's no progress. This is where I also see the shiny object syndrome coming up with a lot of coaching clients, especially those who are just starting out. And it has happened to me too. Like, I'm just not talking just randomly here. It has happened to me. And I had to build the skill set of saying, you know what, this is not for me at this time. It's not. I can't be jumping from one to the other. If you have a strategy, but you haven't even completely implemented it long enough to see if that strategy works, and you just jump to another thing, you don't even know if it worked. So you're jumping from one to the other. So this is where I caution many of you to not be affected by the shiny object syndrome. Really work on it. Something comes your way, really think about it before you make that decision. And these could be simple things that seem to be right. It could be like a new idea, a new software, a new marketing strategy, yet another AI tool. It seems like I see people working with different AI tools, and it's all great. I think it's really helpful. However, I also see people randomly telling other people, like, oh, no, you should use this one. You should use that one. You should use that one. At this point, a lot of the AI tools are doing a really great job. If you're using a specific AI tool, and if you haven't learned how to use all the different pieces of it, don't move on to another thing. Just really make use of what you have, instead of jumping from one to the other. And now there's a learning curve and more time spent or wasted learning yet another thing. But then the real strategy, the real problem is still not solved, right? So really notice where that your time is going, and if you're getting affected by the shiny object syndrome. Another thing is, not every good idea needs to become priority today. Now, you might get an idea, an opportunity. Let's say I want to add another revenue stream, another product line, whatever. That's great. It's a great idea. But what are the things that you need to fix today? That product can be added, let's say, in a planned way, strategically, say in 6 months, because you have something else that's in your priority list of problems to solve before you add that. You don't want to add to the problems. You want to remove the problems before you add a new project. So these are just some different ideas of how you can be super busy, but still not moving the needle in your business. Okay, so pay attention to that. All right. The next section I want to cover is creating a rhythm that you can actually maintain. The idea is, think of it this way. Let's take another, let's say a personal thing like, exercising. How do you create rhythm? You say, oh, I'm going to go 7 days a week. And of course, you go once, twice, 3 times. I'm like, oh my God, my muscles are so hurting. I can't even get out of the door. So you have to have a rhythm that makes sense and you're able to maintain, right? So consistency becomes much easier when important activities have a regular place on your calendar, all right? Blocking time to focus on that one thing that you're going to work on. Don't rely on remembering, oh, I'll see if I have time. If it really matters to your business and will move the needle, give it a place on the calendar. Here are some examples of what you could do. It could be weekly pipeline or sales review. Maybe you want to look at your pipeline of leads that came in, and that you do it maybe, I don't know, Monday from 10 to 11. I don't know. I'm just giving you just examples. Could be consistently prospecting or following up on the prospects. Okay. It could be monthly financial review. Maybe that's like the first, within the first 5 days of each month, you set sometime there, third or the fifth day of the month, and you're like, okay, that's the day. I'm going to set up an hour or two and I'm going to review my financials with my accountant, or if you're savvy enough to read it yourself, then you do it yourself. And then definitely protect some CEO strategy time. Sometimes you are working on things that are going to move the needle on basic things. Sometimes you want to set aside time for strategy. Like, for example, if I want to add another product line and it costs me this, but the revenue generation could be this, right? Now you're strategizing. So before you launch it, you give it enough strategy time to understand if this is worth it, right? So that's more in a strategy. So those are other things that you could put on the calendar and protect it so that you can achieve it. Another thing that I notice is like people trying to create, multiple habits, new habits at the same time. It's like, oh, I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to work out 7 days a week. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to. It ends up doing nothing, right? So pick maybe 1 or 2 new things, new activities, new habits that you want to create in your business as a business owner, as a leader of your business. So you can start working on them, get them to become a habit, give it 30 to 60, even 90 days to really get that down. And it takes different people different times. I'll give an example. I visited my doctor and he has given me probably over 20 different things I can do to be even healthier. Okay. But there's only like 2 to 3 I could implement at a time because it takes time for these things to become part of you, part of what you do naturally, right? So, and the good thing is that he always tells me, hey, implement 1 or 2. I've given you a lot of different strategies and then build on it one at a time. Perfect. So that's what you want to do in your business as well, in yourself as a business leader, to make sure that you're really adding new skill sets and making them part of your habit. It's what you do as a business leader. So think of like small improvements, right? A little thing that you do. So for example, 1 documented process per month. Now at the end of the year, you have 12 different processes that are doing better for your business than if you were to just not even plan to do them. And I know process documentation seems or appears to be overwhelming with a lot of technology that we have right now, things like Loom, which is something I use all the time. You can literally record screen and then it will create everything for you, the transcript and everything. So it creates an SOP. So you can literally do those things while you're actually doing the work. And then next thing you know, you already have processes and training. So if you're not using Loom, it's something I highly recommend. I'll put a link as well if you'd like to use my link to get that. Very, very helpful. Another thing you can do is say the weekly sales activity, okay? Whether it's for business development or reaching out to prospects. So if you think about that, if you do it even once a week, then in 52 weeks, which is 12 months, you have a better business development plan. You've actually touch base with every single prospect, for example. So consistency, it can feel boring because you're kind of repeating actions, but repetition is often where the results come from. The repetition is going to make it a habit for you, and you no longer have to think about what am I supposed to do. You know what you're supposed to do, at what time, which day, and what's the actual problem that you're working on. Another thing I want to cover today is a little bit on accountability, okay? Because accountability keeps you from drifting. So sometimes you already know exactly what you need to work on. Like we already said that in this situation that we're talking, you already know the problem, you're excited about it. So what you're missing perhaps is accountability. Unless you have me as a coach, like I said earlier. this is something, again, I see it all the time during coaching. Accountability is one of the things that really, when people lack it, it just doesn't move the needle at all. Okay. I've sometimes I work with clients that they may not need yet another strategy, or we're already working on a strategy. My question would be, did you actually do what you say you were going to do this past week or in the last 2 weeks, depending on what cadence we're working on? And if they did, great. So that means we can focus on something else, or maybe we're going to be working on a different strategy now, implementation. That's good. If they didn't do what they said they were going to do, then I would want to know, like, was the goal realistic for them? Is it something that they were unsure how to do? But they didn't want to tell me that they were uncomfortable doing it. Did they underestimate the time commitment that they required? Okay. Did something really legitimately something, happen that took their attention away, like something maybe family related? Or did they just let other priorities take precedence, right? So accountability isn't about making someone feel guilty, by the way, okay? It's all about identifying the patterns that keep interrupting the execution of the plan, okay? So as a coach, if I'm asking you, did you do this? I don't want you to feel guilty in the sense. I mean, you might have an initial that feeling, but the point is that let's diagnose why you didn't complete it. That's very important, because it could have root causes that are beyond just, I didn't have time or I didn't put it on the calendar, right? Okay, so if you've been listening so far and you're thinking, I know what I need to do, but I need some more structure and an ongoing support, that's exactly why I created my Profit Foundations membership. So that gives you an ongoing environment for learning, implementation, and accountability. Most business owners don't need yet another place to just gather information that they already have. There's so much information online. You can just sit there and consume all day. Even this podcast, you can just listen to it. But if nothing is getting done, it's just idea collection. So you need structure that helps you learn something, apply it. It's very important. A place where you can ask questions and continue improving your skills. This is really the place where you can do exactly that. The Profit Foundation membership, provides ongoing business education and resources, plus an opportunity to come in each month and have a Q&A with me and stay engaged and work with others as well. So if this is something you would want to consider, I'm going to put in the link in the description box, so you can go ahead and click and get more information on that. So as we wrap up each week, here's the profit question for you. What is one habit or routine that, if you consistently followed each and every week for the next year, would significantly improve your business? Okay, so one habit or routine consistently done for a whole year, week after week, would significantly improve your business. So again, pick one, right? One. And then here's some actionable takeaways. Choose one weekly CEO habit that directly supports your current business priority. Block it on the calendar, very important, and then protect it. Commit to it for the next 30 days before deciding whether it works for you or not. At the end of 30 days, ask, what changed? Do I continue doing it? Do I adjust it or replace it? So one habit on the calendar, 30 days, and then question yourself, did it work? Did I stick to it? Do I need to adjust anything? All right, as we wrap up today, remember, don't confuse activity with progress. You don't need to do everything at once. Identify what matters, create that rhythm around it, and stay consistent long enough to see results. Next week, we're going to talk about what happens when you have a specific business challenge that needs more than another idea. You need focused time to work through it, make decisions, and create a clear plan forward. So with that, I'm Marie Torossian. Thank you so much for joining me on the Profit Lab show and podcast, and I'll see you next week.